it could turn out really good. It could turn out with me sobbing and crying with a red face going, no! This is not something you take lightly, deploying one of these. Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about safety. A lot of you have reached out to me and asked me how I feel comfortable traveling by myself, and I wanted to share with you one of the things that I travel with at any given time that I think that you guys should have also. Now, before we go over this too much, I want to express to you that I too was somewhat worried when I first started traveling. This is a normal reaction to being on the road for the first time as a solo female traveler, and because of that, I took a lot of preventative measures to make sure I was okay. But one of the things I was always a bit hesitant to carry with me is pepper spray. Now, for me, there were a couple of reasons why I was kind of terrified of doing this. For one, I was afraid that in such a small space, if I did have to deploy pepper spray, I would end up choking myself out, even if I did go in the correct direction. Also, I was worried about misfiring it and potentially putting myself more in harm's way. So today we're going to be talking about pepper spray, what it is, why you need it, and how to correctly and incorrectly deploy it. I think that this will help you guys a lot to know that it's okay to not have everything all together or to always feel the most confident and safe whenever you're first starting out, but that you can feel better and take care of yourself while you are in fact on the road, doing something that's pretty handheld and easy. Let me show you what the pepper spray that I carry with me currently looks like. Okay guys, this is my current pepper spray. This is the one that, as you can see, is attached to my keys. It goes with me everywhere. This is just a really simple pepper spray, and this is easily deployed. So basically with this one, all you do is you just pop this up and then you're ready to go. But part of the reason why I like having this and having it on my keychain is because it also allows me to have this on me at any given time when I'm going to or from my car, but also while I'm in my vehicle itself. Now, why do you want to always have it with you? Well, because sometimes the scary part isn't being in your van. Sometimes the scary part is going into a store in an unfamiliar area, or walking on a hiking trail, or going to an area that you might think that you kind of know, but you see something a little sketchy, and better safe than sorry. So today I wanted to talk about why I have this one, but also what this one is and why this one might be better than some of them that are out there. Now, first and foremost, again, I carry this thing with me all the time. You can see I have a nice little carabiner right here on my keys where I can loop these directly onto either my sling bag, my person, or onto like my camera itself, depending on how I am traveling. So I can easily have this with me. But whenever I'm physically walking a lot of times, I like to keep it in my hand. Now, I do so by making sure that you can see the little squirt area, getting a good firm grip, and then making sure that I keep my thumb literally on the trigger like this, especially in sketchy areas. Now, I've been to some really sketchy areas, and I also thought about having to deploy this guy a couple times. This in reality is to break your window if you get stuck inside, but I thought, worst case scenario, I can do this, then I can hit, and I don't ever want to have to do that because I'm super non-confrontational, but at the same time, you know, you start going through those weird thoughts. So being prepared and having something like this can be super handy. Now, why do I have this particular kind though? Well, the fact of the matter is there are two main kinds of pepper spray. There's the pepper spray that makes the big cloud, and there's the pepper gel. Pepper gel is what I personally prefer to carry because it gives you a more direct path to from point A, where you're spraying it, to point B, the person that you're trying to spray it at, and it doesn't fog around you, which could leave you in a bad spot. So the pepper gel is actually something that I carry because of that. Now, this came really suggested to me as a result of talking to Nomadic Nanny. She's really cool and was talking to somebody before she hit the road, and they told her, you don't want spray, you want gel, because otherwise you put yourself in the middle of harm's way also. And so I instantly pivoted and took a shift over to pepper gel as opposed to pepper spray. So there's the story on that. But since then, I've also found that in self-defense classes and then also safety training and police training, they say that pepper gel is superior. So look into that and make your choice accordingly. However, I do definitely recommend gel over spray. Now, before we get into safe deploying strategies, let's talk about what pepper spray really is and where it comes from. We're all about brain wrinkles here on my channel, so if you're ever interested in finding out and geeking out about weird stuff, you're in the right place. Pepper spray is actually rumored to have gone all the way back to 7,000 BC. Now, believe it or not, it gets its origins from both Japanese and Chinese fighters who would create these little gas bombs. And these gas bombs, which would deploy basically like really strong, potent herbs, would form this gaseous cloud that would basically inoculate all the people that they were going up against, and it would form lots of itchiness in the eyes. Sound familiar? There's pepper spray 101 from the very beginning, or so it is rumored. However, it wasn't actually capitalized and mass marketed until much later on. In fact, it wasn't until 1964 that a man had witnessed one of his friends had been mugged, and he wanted to do something to kind of make sure that that wouldn't happen again, and so he created what we now know as more traditional pepper spray, and he patented it. And so from 1964 until the present day, there have been many different styles, many spray containers, but basically they're all using the same kind of technology as the OG 1964 version. So that's the backstory on pepper spray and where it came from. But what actually is it today? Well, the main ingredient in all versions of pepper spray is a manipulation of capsaicin. It has a variety of different effects that can harm you or cause you discomfort in a lot of different ways. And just to kind of give you guys a heads up, they use similar agents in various military operations that we've all heard of. Yeah, so this isn't for the faint of heart. This isn't something that you want to be playing with. This isn't something you want to spray in your own eye by accident, which is why I wanted to make this video to help you guys to feel more comfortable using this particular item. It's super important that we responsibly use things, and sometimes we don't have that practice moment. So today I invested a little bit of extra money. I picked up a brand new pepper spray at Walmart, and we're going to go over how it works so you guys can see that. And it could turn out really good. It could turn out with me sobbing and crying with a red face going, no! But if it does turn into that, I wanted to go over how you can make the effects not quite so strong, just in case, because I think that we need to talk about that before we actually get to the, the actual spraying, just in case. Now, some of the effects that you could experience if you were to deploy it back at you include, but are not limited to, dry cough, wheezing, shortness of breath, throat burning, gagging, runny nose, panic, gasping for air, dizziness, inability to speak, loss of consciousness. See, this doesn't sound fun now, does it? But don't worry, if this does happen to you by accident, you can do a few things. First and foremost, move to fresh air. Get away from the bubble that is permeating the nasty. Just take a deep breath. Calmly take a deep breath. I know it's going to be super hard if you do deploy it and you instantly feel as though you're choking to stay calm, but it is imperative for you to stay calm. Now, your immediate reaction might be, okay, I'm going to wash my eyes. I'm going to just get this off. Don't use soap. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. What happens, unfortunately, is when you put soap on it, it actually makes it worse, and then it's just frozen in this area and can't diminish. Instead, they do recommend that you just use plain water. Splashing it onto the area instead of patting it in with any kind of cloth will more quickly rid the area of any affected pepper spray stuff. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Now, in addition, blink. Just blink. Keep blinking, but don't touch, just blink. What this does is it creates a tearing process inside the eyes, which allows it to flush out of all of the area around the eyes. And so that way you're not touching it and making it actually go into the ducts and into all of the nooks and crannies. Don't touch, just splash, then blink. That's what they say to do. But there's one other thing that I definitely would say, if you have the opportunity to do, you need to do absolutely immediately, and that is take it all off. Okay, again, guys, this is the one that I carry with me on my keys. I tried to find something as similar to it as I possibly can. This was about $10.50 at Walmart. You can order these on Amazon or find them in pretty much any sporting goods store. So this is just kind of the basic packaging right here. This was the least expensive one. It doesn't have a holster or anything, but it does have a nice clip so that you can put this onto your keychain in a couple different ways. And there's also a couple of other little features on here. So this one is considered to be a maximum strength, and it has a UV marking dye on it. Now, I don't know what that means. My other one didn't say that, so I'm real curious to see what this is and how it goes. But as we continue to read, it says right here that this one actually has protection against multiple threats, and you can get up to 25 bursts out of this one. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many bursts that I would be squirting if I was scared, but it might be more than one if I was trying to get away from somebody bad. So it's really nice to know that you can continue firing this multiple times if you're in a bad situation. At the same time, that does come with more risks of you being victim to some of the blowback from that, even with the gel, because the more you put into the air with movement, the more that it's going to shuffle around in the air and possibly get to you. So keep that in mind. Also, it says that this has better control and aim because it has an ergonomic finger grip on there. So again, there are different kinds of these, but this one has these extra features there. Now down here it does have a warning saying keep it out of the reach of children, because kids shouldn't be around the pepper spray no matter what age they are, because even though kids can be very well mannered, it doesn't need to be in their hands where they could deploy something that could harm others. So I did want to add that in there. It also has a little caution. It says severe skin, eye, and respiratory irritant. Contents are under pressure, so see back for warning. Now, the reason why I wanted to go through all the pieces of this before we actually do the demo is because this back here on the back is very interesting to me. And the first time that I got pepper spray, I didn't read any of this to realize that, oh wait, some of this might be interesting considering, you know, we travel in a van. So let me kind of show you what I'm talking about on here. Okay, do you see this right here? It says contents are under pressure. Do not puncture or incinerate. Do not expose to heat or store at above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's very important to note that if you do this, this could make the canister malfunction, it could explode, and it could leave a peppery mess in your van. So this is not something that you want to leave in your van if you're in a super hot area whenever you're not attending to it. This is not something that you're going to want to have in a space that could get boiling hot. Lucky for us, it goes on our keychain, so it's fine. We don't have to leave it in the van. However, I know a lot of people read through these things and are like, oh, it's okay. I mean, that's just continued use in that temperature. However, I watched a few videos before doing this video about the bad things that can happen with pepper spray, just because I wanted to prepare myself for the worst case scenario. And one of the things that it did mention was that this can happen if it's continuously exposed to that, which would mean in our van every single day. In fact, today while we were out and about exploring, just being away from the van and it not having any kind of window shades or anything like that, inside the van with it feeling pretty decent outside, it was over 110 degrees inside. And this is still a cooler time of the year. So with that said, keep this on your physical being and keep it out of your hot van. Okay? Okay, good talk. Now that we have gone through that, let's open this up and I'll show you kind of what the finger trigger looks like, and then we'll get to deploying it safely. But we also need to check the wind. Never, ever, ever, ever deploy this when the wind is coming back at you. It's just a recipe for disaster. Okay, we have opened it and now it is in two little pieces. This is actually like a little quick connect, so it pops off. You can push down on a little button and it separates. So this means you could like attach it to a variety of different things, or you could just use a carabiner, whichever one works better. For the purpose of today's video, we only need this guy. This is just a bonus that came along with it. Okay, here it is, guys. You see it. It's just this nice little small thing. It's less than the size of my hand, and you can see this is where it would actually deploy from. This is the switch, and on this one it's kind of interesting because the switch actually has to be clicked over. So we would click it over in order to push it. So I guess what we're gonna do right now is kind of just see how easy this is to click over. Oh, super simple. Okay guys, I found Brock. He's going to be my safety buddy. He's gonna make sure that I don't pepper spray myself. Have you ever had to deploy pepper spray?
No, I haven't deployed pepper spray before, but I am actually a certified Axon taser trainer with Axon.
Okay, so maybe at some point we can get Brock to show us taser training too, because that's a great safety thing. But for the time being, I'm kind of scared. The wind is blowing this way, it seems.
Yes.
So I need to go that way.
Yeah, I think we'll do it over here by these bushes. You can sort of aim at the bushes. That way we're not blowing directly into other people.
This is not something you take lightly, deploying one of these, and I've never actually had to deploy one on my channel during any of my 6 years of travel because I've never been in a weird, creepy spot. But today we're not gonna deploy this at our friend. We're not going to hit our friend. So we're gonna move over to where he kind of looked and thought it would be safe. And now the wind seems to kind of be going this way. Oh, this is why you have to be careful and really plan this out if you're wanting to test this. Let's move. Okay, so we're in the spot. Brock, what are we doing?
Okay, so we're gonna line right up here. We're gonna fire off towards these bushes because nobody's gonna be, the thing is, by the time it dries, it should be fine, but we want to make sure there's dirt roads coming through here, that nobody's going to be walking on a path where we've sprayed and getting either walking through it or having their dog walk through it. So the bushes are good because nobody's going to go into the bushes. We want to check the path of direction for the wind. So real quick, as we can see, the dust is going straight off that way. So there's no one that way. If anybody's testing, that they have eye protection in case it backfires or somehow splashes up. If you're really worried, you can wear a face mask as well, something that covers the face and the nose.
I think I'm good. With that said, I'm clicking the little button again. Boop, we are in go mode. I'm gonna go ahead and do this and kind of fasten it in. I look really silly, but that's okay. And now we're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna go, guys. This is gonna be interesting. And so we hold on to this top part, it creates a button, and oh,
there it goes.
Oh, okay, so note to self, it's good for 25, but when it gets close to the end of the 25, oh, just say no, just say no. So what happened was, all was great for the demo itself, but then I got a little overzealous doing these really cool slow motion shots for you guys. And then I went ahead and ran it basically down to the end, and in doing so, at the very end, it makes this puff as opposed to the gel, which goes straight because it's trying to get rid of the last part of it. And I was perfectly fine, except for it kind of bounced back a little bit. You can hear it right here. But all in all, not bad at all. The first like 10 squirts that I did were just, and it had a good range, probably about 5 to 10 feet on this little guy right here. And Brock standing behind me was not affected whatsoever. I just got a little overzealous on the end there, that's it. But this one has a very interesting colored stuff that goes in there so you can actually see where you're shooting, which was pretty cool. And so I could see the exact stream for which I was shooting the pepper spray. Now, my one tip to you guys would be, just if you have deployed it before and it's feeling a little bit light, maybe just replace it. Don't go all the way to the bottom. Yeah, yeah, I think we're fine with that. As always, guys, I would rather you guys learn from something I have done than go out and have an issue where you have to learn on your own the hard way. So again, remember, gel is better than spray. It just goes in a better path overall. I really liked this one that I actually found at Walmart because of the coloration, so I could see where I'm aiming. So I think that that's a really huge bonus also if you're looking for one of these. Not to mention, figuring out how long the pepper spray will last and how many squirts that you have. I wanted to run this one into the ground just to kind of see that, and I did several long bursts, several short bursts, and then finally I got to that last burst and it was hard. Don't get to the last burst. Always replace it before then. Now, something else that they do recommend if you are using pepper spray is to make sure that you're testing it every 90 to 180 days, just to make sure that you do still have some in the container. So that would be a good way for you to gauge how much is in there before it gets to one of those worst case scenario, oh no, I need this moments. Now, this is also something that is really wise for you to pick up because it's one of the easiest safety devices that a woman can have on her body at any given time. With that said, there are a few places that won't let you carry in pepper spray, so if you're traveling, make sure you always kind of read ahead whenever you're going into public spaces, just to make sure that you don't have to chunk it or take it back out to the car. It's just worth it that way. I found one place that I couldn't take it was Meow Wolf, and I ended up having to replace my pepper spray because there wasn't enough time for me to go out to the car and put it in there. And so, you know, again, learn from me, don't make mistakes, and I hope that you guys feel a little bit more confident in easy safety solutions. Remember, guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time, and making sure that we're safe in all of our travels is definitely that. Till next time, guys, bye!